Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. My name is Mark Yaschik, and I'm joined by our guest host, Gidon Sobel. To today's session, this is a series of very focused and relevant topics that we've created over the last couple of months, and we call it Tuesdays with Monday. We have a different guest speaker joining us every session, and today we are actually really pleased to be joined by the president of our company, of Purple Plum, Gidon Sobel. And we're going to take a moment to look at Monday.com in a way that's a little bit deeper than we have in the past. And what we're really going to go into here is looking at how Monday.com can be used for a number of different cases beyond just a traditional residential real estate firm, right? So, what this might look like for many of our clients, and we work with so many in the real estate space. We fully recognize that real estate is a big umbrella topic, and inside of it, we have a very wide use cases related to everything from mortgages to property management to commercial real estate to land development and property asset management. And so in today's session, what we're going to do is provide for you a couple of ideas on how deep Monday.com can be used to actually manage assets throughout multiple locations or a single location, and really track all of the information so that a company has a single source of truth, a place to see where everything will work. Gidon, if you want to just skip forward maybe two different slides here, and we're going to get right into what the real estate asset management is going to look like. And so for today's session, Gidon, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for a moment. Can we get an idea of the example use case that we have,
Sure.
and we plan to go through it today?
Fantastic. Thanks for the warm welcome, Mark. Good to be back. I've enjoyed watching some of these from the sidelines, but it's definitely good to be in the hot seat again. Obviously, so much to talk about as it relates to Monday and real estate. And what we're seeing as we as a company focus really exclusively on Monday for all manifestations of real estate is just how broadly applicable Monday really is. And that is definitely so with Monday's latest product, Monday Service, which we're going to be demoing today for this real estate asset management webinar. So really excited to share a little bit more about that. And in order to do that, we're going to just use an example around Hilton and just using a familiar brand and all the related hotel properties that are part of the broader Hilton brand. Full disclosure, we are not selling Monday or working with Hilton at this time, though we are very open to doing so should anyone on this webinar be from Hilton and wish to reach out to us. But we're just using this as an illustrative example of how to talk about and think about asset management and maintenance for multiple properties. So what we're going to do is, within Monday, just to give you a visual, we'll focus on how we model the various hotels, the individual properties in Monday, how we have associated management teams that manage those properties, and then we'll get into the underlying assets, be it HVAC units, security cameras, heating units, also any kind of computers, or whatever it is that represents assets that might be on a hotel property. We'll talk about the vendors that service those assets, and then get into the nitty-gritty of maintenance of those assets, be it one-time maintenance or recurring maintenance, and the technicians that are involved in that. All of this is really powered by Monday Service, and excited to share a little bit more about that. So let's just jump into the demo. So what I like to do in demos and is really to give you a bird's eye view of what's possible rather than click through each step of how to go through a given transaction. There's always time for that after the fact, and we're happy to do that with potential customers at any point in time. But really what we want to focus on today is just a big picture of how might a multi-property, multi-brand chain such as Hilton represent their asset management and their maintenance. So we'll start kind of with that top-down view in mind. What I have here for you is just what we call an executive dashboard, and that's just the top of the top. It's giving us a summary of all the properties, what we've built, what we're hoping to have is open by the end of the year, broken down by status, by brand, deeper information by brand. Where is each property in terms of whether it's under renovation or still planned or even recently closed. We get a map view, and then we can look at our assets by property and where are the individual assets, what are their statuses, what's under maintenance, what's the warranty situation with those respective assets. Do we have any maintenance requests associated with properties and assets? Which technicians are working on them? So if I'm the managing director of a hotel chain, which hopefully I will be one day, maybe, I'll get to see everything going on across all properties, across all brands, and have a really good aggregate view of everything all in one place. All of this is based on underlying data in Monday that we'll show you, and it's rolling up to this executive dashboard. Very powerful, very digestible, very easy to use. So,
and Gidon, if I might add, what I find is so many of the clients that we work with, they're serving C-level members of a company. And so they look at an executive dashboard like this as a quick 30,000 view of how the business or this piece of the business is operating, quickly identifying that if there are any issues, what's lagging, but also it frees the leadership from the minutia, right? Of looking at line after line after line.
that's right.
Obviously,
That's right.
how visually dynamic this is, it really gets to the point quickly and
That's
allows.
right. And these types of dashboards often helps surface that needle in the haystack that a given executive is looking for. So as I look at this dashboard right here, I'm noticing, well, there's one property across this entire network of properties and brands that has an issue with maintenance. So I'm going to look at that one, and I'll just click on the red. It'll take me straight into that property, and we know we have a gate system that has an issue in this particular property. All of that is right from the top all the way down to the bottom, and I can even get into that maintenance request and see some of the details associated with it. We'll go into a little bit more detail, but that just shows you how quickly you can swoop in and see what's going on. So I thought that would be worth just highlighting while we're here. Okay, so let's now, we've done the top down, let's look at the bottom up and how do we assemble all the moving parts, coming back to that diagram, if you recall, that I shared before, right? So let's talk about property. So again, we can now take it down a level. I'm focused on all my properties. I see a similar breakdown, but with a lot more detail here. Summary by brand, summary by status. Here, I'm seeing a really neat visual based on the different brands. When are my different properties opening on a timeline? That's a great widget, we call them in the Monday world, that really brings to light key pieces of information so that visually I can see, oh, the next Homewood Suites property is in November. The next Curio collection is also in November. So I've got two events that I need to pay attention to in that time frame. So where does this data come from? We've talked about a high-level dashboard. We've talked about a property management level dashboard. And let's go to the properties themselves. So everything in Monday starts at a board level. I'm sure we've talked about boards many times in our webinars. This is kind of the building block, the fundamental building block of Monday. And so we have a board of properties, pretty straightforward board, where we've grouped them here by the actual brand. You can see the various information associated with them. If I wanted to look at them, the map view, I can see them all on a map. I can drill into a particular property, even go into the details that way. All very kind of drill downable, so to speak. If I wanted to look at the details of a property, I can click into one and see more information as appropriate. So that is how we look at properties. We've thrown in a nice little rating system, and the beauty of Monday is you can organize and group by all sorts of factors. So if I wanted to see all my 5 out of 5 star properties, these are them, and so on and so forth through the different star ratings. We've got a couple in the 2-star, or 6 of them happen to all be Homewood Suites. Those probably warrant a little bit of attention, right? As to what's really going on and how can we bring them up in terms of their rating system. So just to summarize, we've kind of got our building block list of properties, and these can then be leveraged when we create maintenance requests and assign them to assets and tie them into that maintenance life cycle.
And so, Gidon, what you're pointing out here, and I just want to press on it for a moment, is the flexibility of the data for the client that we're serving to be represented in a way that's actionable and rich, right? It delivers the information that they're looking for, but it's delivered in a way that is perhaps unique. Perhaps you like to look at your information and your to-dos, if you will, of management in a totally different way than I do. So the
That's exactly.
flexibility of Monday being able to present it in that very approachable way is one of the important ways that or reasons that I have such great return from my clients once we've launched Monday in their organization to say everybody's using it, right? There's no resistance or pushback because not
That's right.
only is it simple and intuitive, but it's delivered in a language style that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's that ease of use, that focus on the user experience that Monday has persisted into the Monday service arena. So let's keep going. So we've talked about properties and we've defined our properties. So let's talk about our assets. So again, we can talk about starting from the top down with assets. Assets, again, being an HVAC unit or security cameras and the like. So here we see a deeper summary of all of our assets, again, by brand, by status, by type. And so we can see here we've got 2 out of order assets that obviously come and go as the normal maintenance process with a fleet of assets. We've got 54 operational assets. As we've said before, on all these charts, they're very drill downable. So I could highlight any particular chart that catches my interest and look into it. I'm curious here, what's this particular access control panel issue for this particular property? Again, like we did before, we can jump into it this way. So great top down, super flexibility in how we organize our dashboards so that they resonate with different levels of leadership. So just like we did with properties, we start with an underlying asset board or an asset directory, we're calling it, and has all the assets. Let's start with the by property. So what do we have in each of the properties? And we can see details for every asset. We can look at their status. We can look at their picture. We click into one of them and we see the specific maintenance history, warranty information, if that's applicable. We see a lot of warranty usage with Monday Service, where to date, many large companies still use large Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets to track warranty information for major assets. This obviously takes it to the next level. So this, for any given asset, we can see serial information, model information, and any warranty information, and then a history of maintenance activity associated with a given asset. I'll jump back out of there. What's really neat about Monday, and I think it's worth highlighting, is we've talked about the ability to group information, but there's also some really creative different views, if you like, more user-friendly views. So this is the card view. So this brings the experience to life. You can put this on an iPad, you can put it on a large display in a conference room, but this allows you to really understand, okay, this is the thermostat in this particular room. This is the actual thermostat that we're looking at. We know what it looks like. We understand how it's attached versus just being in a Google Sheet, as I said before. And all of this is very easily configured. If I wanted to change which columns show up in my cards, I want to put a serial number and a model, I'm doing it very easily. I want to take something away, I remove it. All very, very flexible as part of the setup here. As I mentioned,
Get on, if I might, what I really like about that card view is that it also, whether it's presented in that position in that way or not, very often when we're talking to our technical teams, right, our repair teams and so on, very often there's a disconnect between what the person is claiming the issue is versus what the issue actually is. So having a visual representation allows the repair person to say, "Oh wait, you're telling me there's a problem with your thermostat, but really it might be the HVAC unit itself," right? So it quickly orients, because we're visual people. It quickly orients us to what might be the problem that's not even being stated as the problem.
That's exactly right. And of course, this is just the original picture of the asset, but with subsequent maintenance, we can do a before and after as part of that maintenance process, all very doable in Monday. I mentioned before that warranty aspect of things. And so this is an opportunity to really focus on that warranty piece. So what we've done here is we've tracked the status, the warranty status of every asset, and which is this column over here. And we've just created a different grouping model here where rather than focus on assets by property or assets by brand, we can look at assets that have potential warranty expiry considerations. So here we're grouping by warranty status, and we can just focus on these two groups at the top. These guys are in a bit of trouble because their warranty has expired, whereas this group over here are close to expiring. And it really allows us, based on that warranty expiration date, to send notifications to team members to do a final inspection before that warranty expires, so that we don't find ourselves in the red zone and having missed the warranty window. So this is more than just about organizing data. It's about creating workflows. And by workflows, we mean notifications and reminders and status life cycles to ensure that we have the most current understanding of, in this case, our fleet of assets, and we're taking care of things in a timely manner. And I think that's really where Monday shines. Is it's the visual, it's the organization, but then it's the workflow, and that's a key differentiator.
And to say it maybe a little bit of a different way, it allows businesses to be proactive as opposed to reactive, right? As opposed to reviewing a file that we find every 6 months. Monday can actually inform your team, like as Gidon is mentioning here, right? This asset is about to be out of warranty. Let's perform that final sweep, right? So it's a different mindset for businesses that often find themselves flat-footed.
That's exactly right. So again, coming back to our demo, we've had our properties, we've had our assets. Now let's dig into the actual maintenance itself. So what I have here is just like we had with the previous other areas, a maintenance dashboard, just so we can start top down. We can see all the maintenance requests that have come in across all properties, and all sorts of different views, as we've seen before. If you recall, here was our one maintenance request that I drilled down from on the executive dashboard. Obviously, it's available here. I can look at my allocation of maintenance requests by field technicians. You can see our team of 6 very talented field technicians that are straddling multiple properties. I can see who's overloaded, who's not overloaded. Looks like Jason has got a bit of a light workload. He could be doing some more. We can see completion. Wow, it looks like June, maybe that's summer HVAC season. We got a lot more heat and HVAC related maintenance requests. So we're seeing more volume here. We can see the trend clearly happening. And then we have one of my favorite widgets in the Monday world. We call this the workload widget. And this really allows us to manage the capacity of individual technicians, whether it be in hours per week or jobs per week, with the demand of maintenance requests. And so what we see here is we've got a couple of folks that are in, again, red. Red in Monday generally means it's not good. Right? No surprise. So in this case, we see that Brandon, who has a weekly allocation of capacity of 5, he's got 6. So that's telling us we've given him too much maintenance. We need to move something away from him. Whereas in this particular case over here, Carlos has only 1 out of 5. So he has the ability to work on more. And this is just a great visual. We see a lot of companies using this on an individual level, on a team level, on a kind of property level. Lots of flexibility on how this very powerful visual widget can be used.
Yeah, and also utilization for the employees themselves, right? Thinking about the executive view for a moment, I have this staff of 6. I might be looking for another headcount, but I want to make sure that the 6 that I have here are being utilized appropriately.
That's exactly right.
It informs so much more than just that. Yeah.
So just like everywhere else, the dashboards have to be informed by underlying board data. So we have a maintenance request board. And these are individual requests that have come in from a portal. This is a great feature of Monday service. We have a form here. I'm not going to fill it out here, but we could have a tenant. We could have someone in corporate fill out a form, submit it, and that then goes into the board. essentially in the form of a ticketing system, and that's really at the heart of Monday service, is a very robust ticketing system. And as a user, I can see all the tickets that I've created and what their status is, just like you would in any other portal. Not to mention the fact that there's now this whole portal available to really anyone in any of our hotels for submitting information, for accessing knowledge, articles on self-correction, really, really powerful. And this is growing very quickly. Every month we're seeing new features arrive here. So one of those tickets will come in and it will show up. And when I say ticket, I really mean a maintenance request. I just created one before in the form of a possible roof leak. And let's go inside and see what's going on with our ticket here. So in this particular instance, I filled out that form and I provided this kind of description on the form. And so, basically my sob story as to what's going on with the particular roof situation. And so Monday's tracking that information. And it also is giving me history of what has happened since that ticket came in. So the ticket came in, got the details of the ticket. Then Monday, using some AI, routed that ticket and assigned it to someone. And now someone on our team has responded. And I could I could further reply to the creator of the ticket. I could use a template that said we have received an information. Here is like a form submission of the claim and for general liability insurance, whatever the case may be. And then I could go ahead and send that email to that external individual and they'll see it and it will be part of the timeline. All along, there we go. And you see now my email is part of the timeline. It's back to Raina. And what we see all along is Monday is giving these AI insights, in this case, summarizing the ticket. Over the life cycle of a ticket, these get richer and richer and provide more detail as to what's going on. Just to give a little cute illustration of really where a lot of the power of Monday is, you see these columns here with this multicolored star. These are all the AI columns in Monday that allow, I call it actionable, Monday calls it actionable AI. I call it bite-sized AI. And it really is all over the platform, opportunities to bring the power of AI in a very user-friendly and accessible way. So in this particular case, to be a little bit kind of strange and different, we decided to that our demo technician team were all Swedish speakers, so we have decided to update the description of every ticket into Swedish. So as soon as we entered in this possible roof leak, it translated it into Swedish, and that was automatic. And so you can see it at the summary level, you can see it at the detail level. I've got the original description and the Swedish description there. All of that is very configurable,
That's really
very
cool.
powerful. And so this is, you can see how we did it over here. We take it, we're using the translation aspect of Monday's AI. What do we want to do? We want to apply it to the description, which is the English description. What do we want to do with it? We want to translate it to Swedish, and there we go. So very small example, but this is really happening everywhere throughout the platform, and really taking Monday and service to the next level. So let me just take us all back. We've covered the maintenance piece, we've covered the assets piece, we've covered the list of properties. All of that allowed us to have this very powerful executive dashboard that showed how everything comes together, but it's the underlying Monday boards that drive all of this. So I'm going to pause here on the demo. We can go back to our presentation. And I think we have some questions that we're going to tackle. I'm just going to get straight into them.
Yeah,
the
great.
First question is, will Monday.com support recurring maintenance on assets? Great question. It's a very common use case because, of course, you have the complaints that come from tenants, but you also have ongoing needs to proactively work on maintenance to make sure that we don't have issues with our assets. And the answer is absolutely. And there are many, many ways that we can set this up. We can have tasks automatically show up weekly, monthly, quarterly. We can have tasks show up when a maintenance status is about to change. So for example, if we're 30 days out from a warranty expiration, we can trigger a recurring maintenance status. And that way, as I mentioned earlier, we can make sure we don't run into any issues after the warranty window ends. So lots of options to support what I call one-time or recurring maintenance requests. So that was that question. Jump to the next one. We have an existing ticketing system. What would some reasons be to move to Monday service? Of course, Monday service is relatively near, so there has to be relatively new. So there has to be a compelling reason to move to Monday, and there are several. The first, and it goes without saying, is it has the user experience and flexibility that we've come to love and appreciate with Monday. It's very configurable. Everything I've shown you today, there's not a single line of code. It was put together in a couple of days. And it gives a really empowerment to your average business team, your average office manager to set something up without requiring a significant IT investment or the use of an IT team. So that's one reason why it's a really strong reason to move to Monday. The other thing, and I've mentioned it several times, is the AI piece of Monday. Monday is building Monday service kind of with AI from the ground up. So everything is AI driven. And whether it be summaries or translations or notifications or automatic diagnoses or a chatbot that will kind of interact with you, that's pretty much out there already. It's already in alpha testing. So a lot of kind of future-proofing of service and asset management really comes with Monday service. You kind of go along for the ride, and that all the developers on the Monday product team take you there, versus kind of sticking with the more antiquated, kind of rigid ticketing system. So those would be
Which
my
also means that Monday service is often a good fit for a non-traditional need. For instance, like internal marketing requests that are coming in, right?
Yes,
So
that's
that,
a great point. Service doesn't have to be like a maintenance ticket. It could be legal claim, it could be insurance claims, it could be marketing requests. It just brings that ticketing concept with updates and a portal and the ability to get proposed answers from a knowledge base and applies it to that particular use case, and really promotes that self-service and frees up resources to work on more complex requests. And then as our final question, we have multiple brands within our organization, I should say be within. Will Monday support multiple branded portals? And the answer to that is yes. I think I heard recently Monday will support several hundred portals per account. And that allows, in the case of our hotel example, Hilton could have one, and Embassy Suites could have another branded portal. So everything could be branded locally to that brand, but still feed a single Monday service instance. You could have individual maintenance requests by brand or bring them together into a common experience, but all up to the individual users to decide. I think those were our three questions, Mark. Yeah, and as always, we kind of spend time figuring out what's our bonus tip. And sometimes it's the little things that matter. So I think this week we are sharing a really cool tip that many people, it's been around for quite some time, but it makes a big difference. And Monday has these ever-growing concept of dashboards that I've demoed several times. But often case, a user is not going to be able to log in, a member of the senior leadership team and access the dashboard. So what you can do is you can click on this export button on the right-hand side and schedule a PDF export to be delivered to a team member to their inbox on any kind of cycle. In this case, I'm choosing to send it to myself and to Naya on a weekly basis every Monday at 10 a.m. And we will get a PDF version all laid out like on this dashboard in my inbox on my phone, and that really makes that information dissemination a lot more automated and intuitive. So that's our bonus tip: scheduled emails of dashboards. And I think with that, we're pretty much on the money here. We can wrap things up, Mark.
yeah, absolutely. I just want to share that last piece that you just mentioned here, the bonus tip of scheduling out the dashboard. I think really goes a long way in the way that we at Purple Plum consult with our clients to understand what it is they're looking for. What are their goals? Because there are so many little different opportunities to be more efficient and really put your best foot forward as far as your role within a company. And so we really thrive off of hearing what the problems are and creating solutions that actually meet the need of our clients, because Monday is such a flexible platform. And we, having had enough experience and what I would call really expertise, allows us to share multiple flavors of a solution and allow our clients to decide what fits them best. So, Gidon, thank you so much for sharing all this information today. My contact information is up on the screen right now. If you have any questions, if you'd like to collaborate or just share what your needs are, please feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Mark.